One of the most important aspects of Dutch hunting is research. And I'd like to share a story here. Sim Zeely from the Lost Dutchman Mine concerning Jim Bark, Fish Creek, and the Lost Dutchman Mine. Jim Bark went to the Pima Reservation and stayed a fortnight at the Second Ton Agency, where he studiously cultivated the friendship of the Pimas, who might have known the location of the Lost Dutchman Mine. Before the fortnight had ended, however, Jim had made friends with an aged Pima, and after considerable talk, this man agreed to guide Jim to a point near the Lost Dutchman for a wage of $50 in gold. Accompanied by another man from the agency, an interpreter, a man who was in good terms with the aged Pima, Jim and the Pima and the interpreter drove down the highway towards Roosevelt Dam. The road had been constructed many years after the most recent visits to the area, yet the Pima's recollection of the country was amazingly vivid. In an extremely rough region, the aged Apache requested Jim to park the automobile and wait his return. He disappeared up the canyon to return an hour or so later with a beautiful Indian basket. He had captured it from an Apache at some time or another, he explained, and had hidden it in a little cave. When the party reached the high ground above the long descent into Fish Creek Canyon, he told Jim Bark, "We camp here tonight. We walk from here tomorrow." And he pointed away to the right. He pointed to an area which Jim was familiar with from our explorations, and the gesture stirred an incautious excitement. Instead of biding his time and seeing what would happen tomorrow, Jim began to ask questions. "I know this country well. How far do we have to go?" To this, the aged Pima made no satisfactory answer. Yet Jim persisted. "I want to know," he said commandingly, "how much time we will have to walk and carry our camp with." Before long, the aged Pima refused to answer any longer. Jim finally said, "I don't see how there can be a mine anywhere near here." This was a cardinal error, of course, for the statement not only was contrary to the aged Pima's idea of the fitness of many things that impugned his knowledge. A cold reserve settled like a curtain about the old Indian, and all further attempts in this conversation he remained indifferent. The following morning he announced simply, "We go back now." Jim's angry objection went unheeded, and the trio returned to the agency. There Jim, still angry, gave a few silver dollars to the aged Pima instead of the promised $50 of gold.
Now,
Many years later, I met the aged Pima. "Why are you wanting to take a white man to the mine?" the ancient Pima asked my interpreter hotly. "You know, it's bad medicine and always brings bad luck. White men are liars. They don't keep their promises." His eyes glittering angrily, he told about his own experience with a white man. He had promised to take this man close to the mine, and that one had insulted him and refused to pay him. I realized this was Jim Bark. After a while, looking directly at the aged Pima, I asked him, would he answer just two questions? The seed seemed to fall on not too stony ground, so I asked the first of these. What was the appearance of the ore, and what did it look like? The old Pima pointed to the sky and said simply, "Like many stars." For my second question, I described Tortilla Mountain and asked him to tell me the direction of the mine from that peak. He hesitated for a full half minute, and at least it seemed to me, and then wordlessly he pointed towards the east. Neither Emerson nor I could know, of course, whether he meant to tell us correctly or whether it was in his intention to mislead us. Not really a trail. Kind of just find the path of least resistance at times. Trying to get myself out of this hole. Down here. There's a water's lowering way across this other side. Never tried that. See this? It's a little bit easier than bushwhacking everywhere. Probably won't be. I'm just gonna go back in the same old thing. But see them tadpoles everywhere. Yeah, figured I'd kind of start to run out of real estate. I'll work my way up. There's quartz chalcedony working through the rock. I've come through these spots before, chipped them up, find some smaller size crystals. Oh, and there I just found, I don't know if you can make that out. I don't know if it gets the shine. But specks of copper, pyrite, I said the quartz and the crystals through all this. So the mineralization, I don't find the iron up in here. Streaks, some of the things you'd look for, but it is interesting. And then you go black sand, stuff washing down out of here. So, stuff washing down out of here and in the rock. Here for a minute and do some samples through here, get some of this black sand and kind of scope things out. Or now then, that'll be bye, even though that flat rock, I've been watching that flat rock on Google Earth just to put it in there. It's just, it broke off and that thing just landed there. The thing is just incredibly cool to look from Google Earth. I think it was a house. It's almost perfectly squared and flat on top. And it looks like it's sitting in a flat, low-lying canyon, which obviously looking at this, it's not. Bit of a rugged trip right up there, but very cool. But it also, if you do go to Google Earth and you find that, you will notice that, hey, things aren't exactly what they seem when you're on the ground. There's a face. People are always looking for faces. There's a head up on the ridge too. I don't know if you can see that in this. It's like a head of a person. It's rock, made of rock. But you're gonna see what you want to see. You're gonna take it for meaning of what you want it to mean. But oh, something. The rock is. Did you hear that? I'm going to move out of the way here, because that was a rock. That was actually pretty cool, as long as nothing fell on my head. And some more of that quartz going through here. Huh. Very interesting. You could hear that rock crack. Sounded like someone threw a rock, but I'm pretty sure it was just a rock cracking. I'm going to get off here, take some samples, move along. I don't know if you can tell. A man in a cave. It's interesting. That was not fun. There's the spring. I saw some alcoves, some ledges here. Wanted to check out. Everything here is just falling apart. And scorpions, so that wasn't pleasant. So that was a scramble up, just stuff that was breaking loose in my hands. Trying to get myself to keep going forward, and everything just breaking off. I should have known better when I was back that way, and I could just hear the rock cracking. You can just see the cracks through the rocks. So stuff is just, anything you put your hands on starts moving. But that is interesting. Little cave, man in a cave. But working my way up, kind of get a look at the other side, see if there's anything I can spot. I'll look over at this side. It's warming up a bit, so I'm going to have to be a little more cautious too. But definitely, that was pretty cool. I have to get a couple pictures of that. So that'd be it. I got a little more. The ones I actually was most interested in around the corner. I'll check this out in a minute, but I actually want to get over the other sides. I'm trying to decide whether to try to work my way around all this loose stuff or just get up over it. Probably get up over it. Sometimes what sucks is you find an area or point of interest and you work your way up and around to it, and there are ledges, not the ledges I was looking for, but it is this approximate area, so it was worth trying, worth working my way around. But the other thing I would be looking for through here would be anything that would seem like a claim marker that they could have used to mark their claim. But maybe take a few minutes here and kind of look over and kind of determine my path around or how I want to do this. But yeah, just in case something else comes up, then I'll look. It's nice out today. I'm really enjoying this. So, but I gotta also take some caution. There's a little opening up there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm standing on the edge here, so I want to be careful too. But yeah, up there on the top, that little rock. But yeah, maybe I'll film some more, do something more after I get myself off this 2-foot ledge. And I'm just kind of balanced on good gust of wind. Yeah, I'd get hurt. So, alright, I'll put this up for a minute. That looks interesting. So I continue to work my way up. I'm going to do this carefully. But, not so much. That might be a marker. Actually, I don't think so. I think it looks more like it's natural. This worked its way away from the rest. So, got nothing. There's that boulder. It has 3 holes in it. There's that thing. Okay, you can see how flat it is on top. But, yeah, it's one of these. You walk and you go up another 30 feet. And then you see once you get to the top, it goes up another 30 feet. And I think it goes up 20 feet. And it looks like it goes more. But eventually, I'll find a way down. There's a nice flat rock down there, but good view. Getting a good view of over everything. And definitely getting up on these ledges today. So I'm going to shut this off, try to crest this next spot. Hopefully find myself a good point, kind of get a good look around at everything and see if I can pick up anything on my radar up here. Alright, so I'll start heading back up. Here we go. Yep. Oh, there's quartz everywhere. And crystals and a little bit of something everywhere. That's a nice piece there. You can get some flex sun shining on some of the mineralization in the area. The ground here is just thick with it. I'll have to walk more than a foot, a few inches to find more and more. It's just everywhere. See if someone's busting some out. That's a good sign. Someone else will up here. Right? Kinda. And got a nice little flat here. That was ridiculous. Should have maybe taken my chances sliding down the other side. I think I'm halfway up Horse Mesa at this point. But I guess following what I'm doing, I guess I will continue to watch and look. It's just the route finding. A little better now. I'm looking, everything seems to be sloping down and away. Before it was miserable because every time I got somewhere, I realized I had to go somewhere else. Oh, all right. So, and there's a big cave over that way. You can see through the cactus there. There's actually wind caves and caves all through this area. You could spend months and months climbing and exploring this stuff. You never know what every crack and cavity holds. It's pretty incredible. So you just keep your nose down and kind of look for stuff. See if you find anything interesting. And occasionally you might find something, a little colored quartz there, but let things catch your eye. Keep your eye out. So since I'm going to be working downhill, I'm also going to shut this off because I want to definitely take care of where I'm putting my feet. It's warmed up. Snakes could be out in the brush now too, so work my way around and then try to find myself somewhere in the canyon here, a way to drop down in. Otherwise, I'm going to end up at Bronco Butte before I get down off of here, which is seriously a long way around from where I'm trying to go. So maybe bust this up here in a second too. See if I can get this to break clean. Not have to carry back the whole rock. All right. So I'll continue my adventure here in a minute. All right. So wasn't as what I thought it was. I got moved about 20 feet down and the ground just wouldn't hold me. So I did a quick 20-30 feet, which got me down the mountain. Sliced up pretty good. Nothing terrible. I don't know. It'll sting later, but yeah, both arms. But I also completely shredded the back of my pants. So the back of my pants are completely shredded, ripped up my arms, blood running down them. But I got down. Okay, so down, and I'm in one piece. And I'm going to take a break. Sit down, have a cigarette, maybe clean up my arm, see how bad it is. It's running a lot of blood, so, and see how things are going. But I haven't had any shade for hours, so I'm gonna, this isn't perfect, but work my way down a little, find a nice spot of shade, and then go from there. So, I'm taking a break on a spot. Yeah, that was tough up on the ridges. A lot of blood. So, but found a nice little spot, and I'll kind of film this in a second. But there's well, I guess I could do it this way. You can see the potholes. Probably were grinding holes. They're near an alcove, so there's a good chance that's what they were. So nice shade tree for when they were grinding the mesquite beans and whatnot. So, and it is a mesquite tree, so there you go. Pick them, grind them, and just stick it out here. But haven't seen a soul today. Even when I was up, didn't see anyone. So interesting. Couldn't see that triangle cave. It was hidden from my view when I was up there. I would say I was probably, what, 60, 70 yards below it. No way to get to it from below. That'd be, I guess you could. It'd be a heck of a technical climb. You could make it. I see it. I don't know. It'd be a lot of energy to get up there to make the climb. So, but yeah, you could make it from there. And there's another above it, but I don't know how far that goes back in. The thing that would scare me on up there is how loose that rock is. Well, I did find the mineralization and found some really good samples, and I think we're definitely in the area where that mine is, and all indications are good there. I think the problem is everything just breaks loose so easy. Didn't find anything for a claim. That could be, I mean, if there was anything in the lower canyon here, it's gone, the way the water runs through here. But I didn't see any signs of anyone up there, just like some coyotes had been working their way across, probably bighorn sheep. But yeah, it's been a very quiet day, other than that little guy I saw up in that cave earlier. It's been very quiet. So I had some crows, kept me company while I was working along the edge of Horse Mesa, but Nice breeze now, though. I'm feeling good. This feels good, because that was quite the sweat. Yeah, just that was a bad idea on the descent. I probably should have worked over and just taken my time and figured use up an extra hour and take more pictures and just do a reconnaissance of an area. The area I was getting into isn't an area we're interested in, but should have just taken pictures and done it anyhow. I don't even know how to explain the difference when people sit there on Google Earth and they look at this stuff. I do not think they have any idea of what it's like. It looks relatively, well, it doesn't look too bad. There's a couple shelves, but you should be able to get across over there. And no, it's just some very few ledges that are just fall apart, and 10 to 30 foot drops everywhere. And it's not the kind of area you just walk across and you got to go up and down and back and forth. And so I put everything I could in between. I got video, I got pictures, so I'll be able to look. I got to look at the perspective from one side to the other. Didn't see anything on this side that kind of raised my eyebrows. But yeah, I'm gonna sit back here. It'd be nice to take a nap, but it doesn't look like a very comfortable spot, and I don't have anything. My pack is full of rocks now. I'm probably twice as heavy going out as I was coming in now. So I'm drinking the water, but I'm filling it up with rock. So I got good samples. I think good indication that there could be something up there. I'm believing in the story more and more as I do it. I mean, because you kind of question someone saying, well, there's a 3-foot ledge and they were on this, and then I get up there and realize anything that's up there is going to be on a 3, 4, 5, 6 foot ledge. There's not going to be an open area where they had a pit mine. And the area is very steep. So, but yeah, I'm gonna chill out here for a few before I start. I'm gonna work my way up the ridge behind me and kind of work my way out a little, and kind of film and just take a look and see if I come up and see anything else different today. But yeah, probably the thing that birds me, there's just no one out here. But I did hear some cracking on the rocks too. A rock came loose and I actually heard it tumble. And so yeah, I think if you sat here long enough on any given day, you're gonna hear the rocks let loose. And it does get loud as it comes down here and gets down onto this bedrock, but I'm sure it would spook a lot of people. All right, so I'm gonna kind of ease back and take it easy. Nobody needs to watch me nap, right? Because I don't sleep that much, but watching me sleep, I don't think might be entertaining. Never know. So I'm gonna get going, kind of take a look around here in a few after I rest, and then get on my way again. Okay, I wanted to kind of shoot this. Now, if you're looking at Horse Mesa, you'd think there's Horse Mesa, there's some cliffs, and then there's area to work. Yeah, there's not really. There's just little areas. Now I was up, let's see if I can get where I was. I was up in that area. Let's see that it was up there, but I was up there and had to work my way back down. So, down into here. So it's a good distance. And you see stuff below you, it looks different, so you get down to it and realize it's nothing. Then you work your way up, but cloud cover's coming in, moving right in over the, not much, just some wisps of cloud, but kind of neat how it's coming in and just stretching over. Very peaceful out here. It's just kind of neat. Huh? I might actually think this would be great B-roll. Hold out my voice. Cloud just coming over, and yeah, they're just kind of working their way over Horse Mesa as I sit here. Yeah. almost like a time lapse the way it's unfolding here. But it's moving in real time. It's just crazy looking. Yeah. Some over here coming out now too. Well, I'm gonna shut this thing down, and I don't know how much battery I got left. I do actually have a backup for this, so I can continue filming, but I'm gonna lay back here and watch the clouds roll by for a few. Okay, so I'm working my way out of here, this area. Ugh. Sure I'm not leaving anything behind. I'm gonna say work this way back. Breeze feels good at this point. Just spooked something up there. I heard him. And I caught a glimpse through the brush. Huh. Who knows? Oh, that big horned sheep. You usually can hear them kind of clatter. I don't know what that was. I could just hear it kind of move through the brush and saw just movement through the brush. But this is a nice one. See, this is where I should. This would be a nice spot for a break. See this? Yeah. Some water here. Could have dipped my feet in. See that? That's one of my favorite things to do. Take my shoes off and let my feet soak while I'm out. But where I've been, or no, where I'm heading's behind me. Where I've been's behind me now. looks pretty much the same. You can see how people get turned around so easily in these canyons, especially at this point of time of day. The sun is usually pretty much overhead, so you look up, and believe it or not, there are a lot of people who have a terrible sense of direction, northeast, south, west. And ooh, I guess he was sleeping right above my head there. Didn't mean to disturb him. I'm not that stealthy. Shouldn't have been creeping up on him like that. But now we gotta make the decision to cross over or not cross over. I'm going to say I'm going to do a crossover. I'm going to film from the other perspective here in a second and do that. That seems like it would work. And we're back. Yeah, I think I'm going to cross here. So, making the crossing. Even though the water is down, has been down. There's probably more areas to cross than that. I always find these rocks just always very cool. They got these markings on them. They're reddish. It's always cool looking. See me. I don't see no one else. I see me. I came through. I'm starting to come back up out of the canyons, out of this section. No bighorn today. Don't believe I saw any on our last trip either. It just kind of rotated over. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, pack is getting heavy now. It's just literally full of rocks, samples, and but I'll make it. And then you look down and you see another rock you kind of like, and then you're like, Really, do I really need it? No, not today. See, now I'm going to see all kinds of rocks like that. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. One of the things I've always liked to do is on trips, collect rocks, and there we go. But on trips, collect rocks, put them in with the peppers and stuff in the garden. But unusual rocks. I have the Z rock, which has a Z in it. The V rock, which has a vein of a V in it. I like doing that to mark those trips. I remember where they came from and the trips they're associated with. I think I'll work over this way. I don't think definitely trying some different routes. A little something different. I am watching the ground because, you know, I guess I think I need more rocks in my pack. I don't know why. Nice thing at the end of a day of a trip like this is slows you down as you get that breeze and you hit these really nice shady spots. And that breeze comes through. And you go, yeah, I could stay here for a while. Yeah. This is where also people generally get injured or hurt. I'm stupid and get hurt earlier, but a lot of people get in a hurry, don't take their time, think they're almost back, they get reckless, and something happens. It's also a good time when people get turned around and get lost, because they quit paying attention to where they're going, make the assumption that, oh, this was the way, and following these creeks, they actually branch off. As the creeks branch off in other directions, they lead you in other directions, and you can keep going and going and think, wow, I should have been back at the truck by now. But you are now going a different direction, and you're down in a creek, and you're not paying attention, and you've just went way out of your way. Now you got to go backwards, possibly in an unfamiliar territory, and try to see things through a different point of view than you did before, and try to figure out. I'm finding rocks I like that I'm not taking, but so you're trying to pick which way you think you came. Always good to recognize your own footsteps. Note certain landmarks in the distance when things change course. And yeah, we were heading northeast, and we were heading east, the northeast, east. And I don't know if you can tell, but we're now heading south. And people do get distracted. Quit paying attention to where they're at, landmarks ahead, and just they think, well, we'll be out of here 10 or 15 minutes, and 10, 15 minutes later, they're way out of their way. So. And to be honest, if this isn't interesting, this will be B-roll. They actually filmed me like this. We haven't talked a lot about the filming process while doing this, but they actually filmed me like this with a drone in front of me, which was very annoying. This is a drone-free zone. Drones are cool. B-roll, little kind of pull away shot or something like that. Drones, for me, as if you can never get out and see the mountains and you want to do the flyover kind of feel, kind of what's it like, that's fine. But as far as filming, it seems a bit unnecessary, and I think it actually gets overused a bit. I think we used it fine, but I still think I can see where everybody wants to do everything with a drone. It's like the big thing right now. And I don't know, the drone doesn't excite me much. See, like here, I'm looking down and I see me. Huh. And there's not a me. The not a me has 4 legs. There's 2 not a me's. So I'll film this, but there's a me and a not a me. I don't know, the 2 not a me's smaller. One's a coyote. I don't know if the other one's a cat. It's not a javelina. Prints are not very definitive, but I'll film that a little. It's interesting because it comes right down the way I came through. Okay, so here we are. We've seen small prints. Obviously, much smaller. One there, inside. This direction. Not that way. So crossed over here. So crossed. But yeah, something else. Bobcat, coyotes. Let's see. The one, because usually the size of the foot seems larger. Impression, I don't think it's a mountain lion. I'd say you could say a bobcat, coyote. I don't know if I would. What else would have made it through here and then worked its way up on this? Obviously, came up on this, worked its way across here. DJ rock and over. So, I don't see anything coming down. Could have went up in here. That was interesting to see who else is going through beside you. Right? Who's that? No, I did not see them. Where I had some company today. So that's always good to know. So, whoop, another cut. Maybe reverse the camera, get some film coming out. Alright, so we're working out of the canyon. Yeah. It's not a great path. Well, it isn't much of a path. It's got to be up over this way. Because I don't want to be turning north. Oh, this is the area. The skunk I smelled this morning. And more blood. No skunk. This sand is a drag. You get these sandy areas, dragging your feet through them. And one of those things I've never understood about the desert. Going in, you always have plenty of shade. I know it's early in the day, but as the day goes by, there is not as much shade, and it sucks. So, trying to decide my route here. Definitely want to stick to the right. Well, that's all good footing. Not. Nothing to hold on to either. Here is the route finding of trying to decide which creek. Which creek, as it severs into 3 or 4 different ones, and you want to be in the right one. So, but it doesn't necessarily want to be on the right, but you know what I mean. Shade here. Take a break. It's well deserved.